Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Okay, looks like we're live. Hi, guys. Welcome. Today, I think we're on day 10. I can't believe it. Day 10 of 14 of this series. And today is a really important topic. We're talking about when you should be hiring a team. When consider hiring a team. This is a big one. I'm really excited about getting into it. All right. So first of all, welcome guys to this channel. Like I always say, this channel is for everybody. It's for people who are engaged, people who are planning a wedding, people who are planning a corporate event. But this series is for event planners, so anyone's welcome to watch. But we decided to do a dedicated series for event planners because you guys are our longtime viewers, okay? And we wanted to do something for you. So you're welcome. Enjoy. And also an introduction of myself. I'm Faye Shella. I'm the owner of Statuesque Events. We're here in our office in Maryland. We're in the DC metro area, but we service events everywhere. We've done events as far north as Connecticut, as far south as Florida, as far west as California. We've done the Midwest and Minneapolis, and we're producing events in Europe and the Caribbean. So this is what we love to do, and we're really excited about it. I'm also on a coaching program called Planners Who Profit. We're really excited about helping experienced event planners level up into the high end and luxury markets. And today we're going to be talking about one of the topics that has to do with that, right? When it's time to hire a team. This is a popular question. I get this question a lot because I do run my business as a team versus as just myself. We do have a number of lead planners on our team who execute events on their own. And sometimes I'm there, sometimes I'm not. Most times I'm actually not. In past years, I've had family and friends get married, so I've had lead planners coordinate while I was there, serving as a bridesmaid or a guest. But sometimes our leads are working events on their own. And a lot of times people are like, man, events are so stressful on my body. I wish I could share the load. When do I get a team? And so we're going to hop into that. All right. Also, whether you are looking to get married or if you are an event planner looking for more resources to move your business forward, free and paid resources are linked in the description. So make sure you visit the description. Everything you need to know is there. Even if you're just like, I just want to follow you on Instagram, that information is there. Freebies are there and all that. Okay. So today getting into the topic, dear event planner, here's when you need to hire a team. And this is a trick question because everybody needs a team. The question is, what kind of team do you need for the stage of business you're in, right? You cannot execute a wedding by yourself. You cannot execute a corporate event by yourself. You cannot execute pretty much any event by yourself unless it's like a small gathering in your house with your friends, right? With like 8 or 10 people. Outside of that, you need other people there to support you. There's just so many things going on at the same time. For example, at a wedding, there's a ceremony, there's a reception, right? While the ceremony is taking place, setup is taking place in the reception space, and a lot of times there are questions. Vendors have questions, things need to be adjusted and fixed. So if you are the only person, how do you split yourself to be in both places at once? Sometimes setup is happening while the bride and groom are taking pictures off site somewhere. So you have setup, you got the ceremony prep, you've got different things going on. You need multiple hands, right? For corporate events, there are breakout sessions, right? Multiple breakout sessions require hands in all of them, right? There's just different reasons that you need multiple people in different places, right? Pretty much at any kind of event that you could be planning. So everyone needs a team. Now, when you're first starting out, you're probably like, oh my gosh, I'm just trying to get my business off the ground. How do I go ahead and find a team? And again, this channel is generally focused on experienced planners, but I know there's some beginners out there. So I wanted to toss a bone with this one and answer a beginner question. You can start with your family and friends. My best friend got married a few months ago. And funny enough, she was my first assistant. She assisted me my first few events that I ever did, right? And she assisted me, I want to say, for 2 years, bless her heart, because I was understaffed and I put her through a lot. I remember there was a wedding we did. Oh my God, we worked almost till like 4 a.m. And then she had to wake up and drive to work the next day. And I remember feeling so bad, like this is literally, backstory, she was in healthcare. And so she had to go to work regardless. And I had the day off because I think it was Columbus Day or something. So I got to sleep in and just rest from everything that happened that weekend. But I mean, it was amazing. She always talks about how amazing it is to see the growth so far, and I keep saying was. She was my assistant for a period, and she continued with me for 2 years, and the entire period that she was helping me, she never complained. She never said, "Oh, I hate this." She never complained, even when there were times that I undershot on how many flowers we needed or undershot on how many hands we needed or whatever. She never complained, but I always knew in my heart that she couldn't be my assistant forever because her desire is to grow in her healthcare job, right? She just likes flowers and she likes events, but her desire is to grow in a different direction. And so I always knew that she was going to be a stopgap, an amazing one, but I always knew she was going to be a stopgap until I could find my tribe. And I want you to know that you can do that, right? You can have family and friends support you at the beginning stages. You should be paying them, right? It shouldn't be for free, but they're still supporting you because they're doing a lot for you. To help you to help you to get to the next level, but you should always be looking for those other team members, right? Some of you who are watching this are experienced planners, and you may just be realizing, oh my goodness, I've stretched my cousin or my friend to the limit, right? And they feel exhausted with this business, but they don't want to tell me, or they don't know how to say no because who else am I going to get, right? If I don't have them. And so eventually you got to start looking into people who are actually interested in events. And you also need to have enough assistants so that everyone doesn't have to be on call every time you get an event, especially if you start to get busy. So this is kind of the journey that I recommend, right? Um, Also, because in addition to your business being important, your relationships are important. You don't want to get to a place where you're losing family and friends, right? Because they're trying to help you with your business. I'm excited to say that I haven't lost any friends. I've had a few friends help me in my business, and I haven't lost any. I've never asked my friends who didn't express interest in helping me. I've never asked them to be my assistants. Like, I really stuck with the people who wanted to be there, and I never held them longer than they wanted to be there either, because I value my relationships, right? Like, everything's not about my business. I value my relationships too, and that's something that's important. Now, people with similar interests. Back in the day, believe it or not, I found a lot of people on Craigslist. I don't know if Craigslist still exists. I probably should have Googled that before I got on here. I haven't even said the word Craigslist in probably 5 or 6 years, but I use Craigslist to just find people, vet people, and then see how they help me at a couple of events, and then decide whether I wanted to continue working with them based off of that. But in this day and age, I mean, you got so much available. You have Facebook groups, even Instagram, you can just find other people with interest and let them know. Honestly, just talking to people, you can find interest. One of my really great assistants, she ended up going to med school and moving to another state for med school and everything. She stopped assisting us a few years ago, but she loved it. She loved every minute of it. She even would DM me sometimes and be like, man, I really miss this. I really miss doing this with you. But obviously, she wants to be a doctor. I just found her because one day we were talking and she was just like, I'm just really interested in this. This is just something that I want to spend time doing. It wasn't necessarily something she wanted to do full time or build her own business around. She was just interested. So when you're talking to family and friends casually just about your business at networking events, just casually talking, and someone says, that sounds really cool. I would love to learn more. I would love to help you sometime. Take it seriously. Because here's what I've found. What I've found is that a lot of people with full-time jobs make great assistants because they already have their own professional development. They're already used to um, having to manage themselves in a professional environment all the time, right? And so there's already some things that are already built in with them, that works, especially for myself. Like, I'm an ex corporate girly. Like, I there's certain basics, like, please don't wear a midriff shirt and skirt to an event that we're producing. I actually had somebody do that, show up at an event that way. It didn't end up causing any problems, but I just remember being like, I didn't realize I had to say this because I already said make sure your skirt is knee length. I already said so many things, and coincidentally, all those things were checked, but the shirt was still like a very slight midriff. But there's certain things like that you don't have to say to someone who's already functions in that world, right? Who already is used to going to work every day and having to dress a certain way. There's just certain things that come with that makes the journey a little bit easier. And then again, they're not trying to take over your company because this is a passion. It's a side passion project for them, and they're just helping you with it. And honestly, I've had some people help me for a long time, over 5 years, who were working in corporate, and there was nothing wrong with that. Now, from that, you can start to identify people who can be good leads. You can start to identify people who've been assisting you, and They come to you with suggestions. To me, that is the clear sign of a leader. A leader can come to you with suggestions, right? An assistant, a bad assistant will not understand something that you say and not ask you for clarity. A good assistant will either not understand and ask you for clarity so they can go do it well, or they just catch on. They're just intuitive and they catch on with what you're saying and they execute well. And then a great assistant comes to you with suggestions and says, "Hey, this is I saw this going on in the ceremony room, or I saw this going on in the breakout room. I was thinking we could do this and this and this. What do you think?" Those sorts of people, great candidates to potentially start to take on more work, right? Because they're thinking ahead, and that's what you need from someone who's a lead planner and who's a manager. Doesn't mean they have all the skills yet. You still have to teach them that, right? That's a lot of things. Like when I'm working with clients, I'm helping them to teach your processes, how you do things, teach your methods, so that your team can follow and do things the way you want. But that's a candidate for someone who already gets it. When you tell someone something and they don't and they already can't understand the instructions you're giving them, that's not the person you then give more instructions and more responsibility, right? No matter how loyal they are, no matter how long they've been with you got to take your emotions out of it and start to work with, people who can come with you with suggestions, who understand things, right? I had an assistant a while ago. I remember we were working on a wedding. This was back when I used to do floral design and event planning. It was a lot, and I'm grateful that I'm no longer doing that. My business grew when I let go of floral design. However, I will never forget there was one day that I was like rushing in. I checked into the reception space. Ooh, welcome to you guys who are joining live. Please let me know where you're tuning in from in the comments. But I was like rushing in. I was like double checking that they were setting everything up right. And then I was like, "Can you do me a favor and deliver this bouquet to the bride? And I'm gonna do this and do that." And she was like, "I think the bride would like to see your face today." And I was just like, "I think you're right." She's like, "I'm gonna do this and this and this. And how about you do that?" And I was like, "You're smart. I like this. I like this, right? Like you're a leader." And those are the people on your team that you want to elevate to leads. Right now, so those are the people to do. Now, when you start to have lead planners, you need to already be making money in your business. I can't tell you how many times people like DM or join a training and they're like, "I need to know how to build a team. I want to have a team and manage a team and all this." And I'm like, "Okay, let's talk about your business. Like, not just how much revenue are you making, but how much are you paying yourself?" It's like, "Oh, well, I haven't made enough to pay myself yet." Then how are you going to pay this team of leads? Because a lead costs a lot more than an assistant, right? Just like hiring a manager. If you apply to a management role at a company, you pay them more than someone who's entry level. So, and you're also expecting more from a lead than from an assistant. So if you can't figure out how to pay yourself, how are you going to pay this team? So a general benchmark that I like to put out there is 80 grand. 80 grand, or at least charging $8,000 per service. Like for your highest level service should be priced at least $8,000. If you haven't gotten to that point, I don't think the next step for you is to hire lead planners. Right? Now, and that's regardless of if they're subcontractors or full-time or whatever. If you haven't gotten to that point, I don't think that's a good time because you don't have enough margin in your price point to pay for the assistants, to pay the lead, an adequate amount, right, for what a lead would accept for that amount of work, and then to still have money to pay yourself, and then to pay your taxes and pay for your expenses as a business, right? So though that's like a general like financial benchmark, and this benchmark is 100% financial. It is not um, the benchmark is 100% financial. It is not how many years of experience. There are people who have 16 years of experience who are not ready for a team, and there are people at 3 years who are ready for a team. No exaggeration. It really is about you, about how fast you're growing, how fast you're learning, what environments you're learning in, and also what you're learning. Because frankly, a lot of planners are focusing on certification programs. You have every certification program that exists, and they keep telling you how to plan events and different methods of planning events, but you still don't have clients. Like you got to grow the actual business, not just keep taking certifications because certifications are not the thing that bring clients to you. They're not. This is not corporate America. People come to you based off of the results that you're creating. So you got to stay busy and keep creating results for people to like and want to hire you for, right? So that's really what that looks like. I'm transferring from floral designer to event planner. I'm trying to figure out how to do this successfully. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great transition to make. I think that it's not transitioning from one area of the event industry into another is not a tips and tricks type of thing, right? So if you're so I would say that you have to decide if you're all in, first of all, right? Because you're not going to get tips here and there and there and there and there and there and Instagram posts and stuff like that that are going to do that. You need a guide. That's what you need. You need a guide. Now, like I'm saying, I didn't necessarily transition from one to the other. I did both for a while, right? And then I decided to focus on the one that um made more sense for me. I love floral design, to be honest. I love the process of it, but I don't like managing inventory. I don't like having to deal with figuring out how to clean stuff. Like I just, and that was why I let it go, right? And so when I decided to go all in, I decided to focus just on that. I think that for you, you got to decide: are you all in? And if you're all in, I would probably, I think it's time for you to get a guide. A guide would be a coach. Um, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a coach. I'm saying it because I've spoken to people who say, I want to do X, Y, and Z, and they're on our email list. And they sit there every year, and a couple of times a year, we text people, we call people on our email list, we email them, and they'll tell us they're in the same place. It's still an idea, right? It's I would say, depending on how fast you want to go, if you want to be like, hey, by September this year, I want to have clients, I want to be able to service them. Like, I don't want this to be a forever transition. You need a guide, right? To walk you through all the stages of making sure that people, when people find you, they actually recognize you as a planner and not a designer or a florist. Right. Even as event planners, sometimes people think that we're florists. Talk less of you if you're used to putting yourself out there as a florist. The second thing is that you have to know how to actually plan events. Planning an event is a little different from being a designer because you got to deal with so many other vendors. You got to deal with budgeting, and you have to educate clients on what it's going to take to get them what they want. So there's a lot of consulting. Event planning is consulting. It's consulting and it's project management, right? And those are two skills that you kind of have to learn, right? We all know that there are project management certifications. They don't necessarily apply to event planning directly, but these are skills that you want to make sure that you're learning, right? And so my best advice for you would be you need to grow in all these skills, right? And I would just take your time and enjoy the YouTube videos, all of that, but decide, who do I want to guide me in this process of becoming an event planner? Because you said you want to do it successfully. You don't want to just become an event planner, but you want to do it successfully. Meaning, what that sounds like to me is, I want to make this transition and have more profit. I want to make more money. Want to have clients that love me, and I don't want to do it and feel like I've given up on all of the time that I had. Before, when I was a florist, I would book a client. I don't really talk to them again until like 4 to 6 weeks before the wedding, do the mock-up, show up, deliver, and I'm happy. Now I have this client calling me off on the hook and I'm stressed out, right? Like, you don't want to do it in a way that makes you want to give up on it altogether. You want to do it in a way that makes sure that you're commanding what you want to make and all of that stuff. And also, you want to do it in a way that leverages your experience as a florist, right? It's never about just throwing away what you were doing before, but really leveraging it without boxing yourself into where you were before. I use my past experience as a florist, even though it was many years ago. I still use it because I know I can design and budget at the same time. Like, it's not that difficult for me because I have a general understanding of what things cost, what to add and remove. Like, I understand those things. So leverage that while bringing more to the table than that, right? And so I think that definitely, I would say the biggest thing, I've given you tips just there on what to focus on and things, but I think that to actually do it successfully, I think you need a guide. I think you need a coach. So I would definitely think it would be awesome to have you come to Planners Who Profit Live. There are 3 pre-event coaching sessions, our 6-figure sales sessions, where you'll get that coaching. You'll also, of course, get a lot through the intensive. So I would recommend that. If you're not available, then I would recommend applying to our accelerator program, Planners Who Profit Live, and we could talk more. Planners Who Profit Accelerator, and we can talk more about that. But I think that would be your best next step. Again, I tried my best to give you some tips here and things to think about, and like the things that need to adjust. But I just want to be transparent that I think that this is probably going to be the thing that you need for your next level. So I hope that that's helpful. Yes, I would need that. Awesome. So yeah, definitely make sure you apply. It's just an application. And then we'll just communicate with you, let you know the next steps, let you know what's involved. And then we'll go from there, right? And you just basically coach you through what your next step should be, what that should look like for you, and all that good stuff. All right. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. Thank you for being so engaged, especially for you, Laura. I'm going to shout you out. I think you've been on here like almost every day for 10 days. That's very impressive, to be honest. And so it's been honest. It's been awesome having you here. I hope you guys enjoy this. Tomorrow, I'm hoping to make a Q&A session. I will come with a brief teaching, but I would love to make it a Q&A session. So if you have questions about anything else, just drop it as a comment. Really, on any of these videos, you can drop it as a comment, and we'll incorporate that into the Q&A session. Or you can DM us at Planners Who Profit on Instagram, and we'll incorporate that into it, as long as we receive it by, like, let's say 10 or 11 a.m. Got to have it before we go live to answer it live. And then Friday, I have another session. Friday will probably be the final session that is live, because I like to take weekends off. And then Saturday and Sunday, you will have a pre-recorded you'll have a recorded session that will go live at noon. Okay, so I hope you guys have been enjoying this. I'm really excited. This series has been great. Yeah, this has been really good. And I'm excited to have you guys on, and we'll go from there. All right, so enjoy. For those of you guys who missed any part of this, the replay will be up in a minute or so, and we'll go from there. Okay, so cheers. See you again tomorrow.